Yeah, it was not fun.
Yeah.
It's been
Yeah,
good
I
so
think
far.
that was more or less the same. So when it was bad in New York, actually in Montreal it was pretty bad, but I mean we almost escaped that.
Yeah.
But a few weeks, I mean a few days ago, it was more or less the same in Montreal.
It's good here at the moment, but I'm suspecting within a couple days, if not into next week, we might see something. But so far, it's been clean. I haven't been getting warnings on my phone like I was the week that was really bad. It's just muggy here and rainy.
Mhm.
It seems that we won't have a lot of attendees today.
Stu messaged me 40 minutes ago. He's like, the interim starts in 40 minutes. And I'm like, I'm sitting in the waiting room. I started sitting here 30 minutes before it started.
Yeah, but anyway.
Oh, if we keep it short, that's nice. I don't mind that.
And sorry for jumping
Hello,
directly.
Eric.
So, bonjour Daniel, bonjour Med. Et
Bonjour, Eric.
je ne sais pas si tu es croyant ou pas, mais si j'ai bien compris, c'est un jour important pour certains musulmans en tous les cas. Donc, je te souhaite une bonne fête ce soir.
Merci.
Adam, besides the French-speaking stuff here, I have
Oh no!
this is expert.
Oh
right?
God, I'm screwed. I haven't done French since 7th grade and I failed it.
Yeah, but we need, I mean, among us, right? Obviously, Stu stepped forward. And I said to Stu, yeah, of course, you are a right one, but I would prefer, and sorry, Adam, to put pressure on you, that Adam is there because, I mean, you will be there in 20 years, right? While neither Stu nor me will be. No pressure, with a big smile, right? Think about it.
Yeah. Oh God.
Okay, so
I
Daniel,
I kill him now. Adam is killed.
I am scared. I'm always scared. It's just my default. You've known me for 2 years, Eric. I'm always scared.
No. I mean, you obviously, and I don't want this meeting being about you, of course, right? But you are obviously taking more roles within the IETF, which is cool.
Yes.
Which you have all my support for this, even if it's stuff different than DRIP. So yeah, we need somebody for taking this Erical hit prefix registry. We can hope that it will be taken over by other industries than US.
Yeah, no, I'm totally fine taking that role.
Okay.
I expected something when I did DRIP. I expected I was going to get something because there was probably going to be registry somewhere.
Plus multiple RFC on your name, yeah.
Yeah, as soon as an RFC is on your name, you gotta expect something that's going to stick with you.
So please send me an email so
sure,
I can at least.
I saw your email a while. I saw your email.
Yeah, it was.
And then I was just like, I will see if someone responds, but I will gladly.
The response I got is only one. It's from Stu, and you completely understand that I prefer somebody which is kind of the same profile. I mean, we are Stu and myself. We are the old generation, right? So we need to get the new one. And now, new one is also you, Daniel, and Med, right? If you want to step forward in this. So now I'm a little bit scared. There's nobody showing up.
Stu says MeetEcho is spinning for him, so via text. So.
Madam Daniel, have you sent a reminder email? Maybe just right now, just to be sure.
I know Bob is not going to be here. Stu's going back to first principles. He's rebooting his router. Please send help.
Why do you claim it on the router? It's not a Cisco one. Okay, I understand. I know it's recorded, right? But I mean, like people, right?
Shameless plug.
But you can claim you haven't seen the note well yet.
Exactly. There is a note well somewhere.
That doesn't note well.
Yeah, actually, most of the IETF code, right, like tomorrow, are starting with this kind of chit chat and joking, right? So.
Yeah, I think we can just start and then hope that the others can join and jump in. So I think that's the key pen holder is with us, so we can put all the action on him. So he will accept by default. Adam, that's it.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, Daniel, please go ahead.
So please look at the not well now. So for those, if you have any question, let us know.
We need a note taker. I'm sorry, I'm the bad guy.
Yeah, that's you, Eric. No.
No.
I open it and at least start it. Oh, I need to sign in. That's unfortunate.
So basically, we need one, right? So we can do it if somebody volunteers based on the recording. That's not the preferred solution, but that's one way of doing it.
Yeah. We can get Stu to do it.
So I think hand waving was volunteering to be the note taker at that point. Hi, Stu.
Okay, looks like the thumb up. And please keep your camera on, right? It's more friendly for small group. If you agree.
Okay, so we I mean, the agenda is quite expected. So we will have this discussion on registries, on the registries, but I mean the code points, and then on the registries. So the next step, Med, do you want to say something special, or
yeah, for this too, we can leave that
for Eric, or
there's one point for Eric at the end of the, I would say, on the session to discuss on the future at some point about the future of the working groups once we have, I would say, the authentication and the registry done, whether we stop here or we continue. So that's something that I'd like to have formally between of us to judge whether there is, I would say, sufficient energy for us to continue. But for that, I prefer, to put the authentication and the registration on the right path and send it to Eric for, I would say, the next step, hopefully for the next steps. Yeah, I think we can go back to the some code points just to see that everyone has the same, I would say, understanding of the current situation, and then that we agree on the next steps for the authentication specifications.
So, talking. Couple of discussion has been going through what we call the IETF LLC, which is basically the official organization of the IETF, getting the money, right? This is basically Jay Daly, you know him. So that's where you get the credit card, the payment, the invoice. Basically, they follow what the ISG, meaning in this case me, meaning in this case this working group, will ask. So for the $400 from Mikio. There was other discussion with the trust, because the trust own all the copyright, the logos, and everything. So do they also own the code points? There was some discussion, but typically no. So we have solved this kind of lawyerish thing inside. I'm not sure whether everyone was in copy, but everything is solved. So first step, we need to get Arkio shop page working again. It worked for one day, but it doesn't work today, at least for me. Right? Once it's done, I will send copying the working group, or the chair can do it, but then I will approve. But I think it's easier if I send it my own. Put it in the working group, and the executive director, meaning so Jay Daly, please order 4 some code points for the amount of $400 in total. Once we get them, we will I mean, obviously give them to the draft authors. We will create normally an IANA page copying the data, right? We've clearly indicated those code points are coming from ICAO with a reference. We do it from IEEE because most of the people are looking at IANA page for code points and everything related to RSC. And then we go. Then we can clear the queue of documents. I still hope to get a reply through the liaison statement to ASTM, telling, yeah, the right way to doing it is going to ICAO, but and so on. It will not be blocking if you don't get. Okay, so basically, ICAO web page going on, myself sending an email copying everyone, requesting IETF, what you call LLC, so the guy with the money in the credit card, to get the code points. Once we get them, because there's a process within ICAO and ASTM, we make an IANA page and we update the draft. Independently, I still hope to get an ASTM reply to the liaison statement. Not binding. Is it okay for everyone?
Yeah.
So I have
about the
one
price.
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Dan. Oh, okay. So I just had one question to Eric. Agree with the IANA setting up a registry. That would have to be part of the auth draft, right? So once I get the code points, I just have to create an IANA consideration section and create the registry point and everything in that draft and insert the points there. Is that how that would go, or would that be out of band?
No, that's good like this. You will get 4 points, right? So it will be up to you to select this code point is for this function, this code point is for this function.
Understood. Okay.
And hopefully we'll get 0, 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Not
1, 2, 3, 4, probably.
Yes. So and the other step one we have, I would say, the document updated with the, I would say, the formal code points that are assigned by the ICAO. So then we'll have to figure out whether we will need another last call just to make sure that everything is okay. We used to have 2 in the past, so I'm not expecting to have major issues on this version, but just for it is always good to have, I would say, some fresh eyes. So I will revise some of the directorate review requests for this one that we received, especially the ones from the ops. So that will be on our side once you update the version, Adam.
Sure. Okay.
And now I vaguely, I mean, I'm not following DRIP as all of you are doing. I had in mind we got the 4 sum types, but you get another code point from STM to get as well. Or am I completely wrong?
No, so the
No.
other one is the specific session ID, and that's already dealt with because it was burned into the ASTM standard.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's already given to us. We don't have to worry about it.
Thank you, Adam, for the confirmation. Thank you.
Yep. And I updated their information spreadsheet for it to be placed in the registry. So with the IESG email contacts and whatnot. So.
Perfect. Thanks.
Yep.
Okay. Another point on the authentication document?
I have nothing else for the auth document.
Okay.
I'm really just waiting on the SAM codes.
Okay, so I didn't check the issue trackers to see if there's something that was stale or dormant there, just for the sake of, I would say, making sure that we didn't forget anything. But I will do that later. But I trust you, Adam, that you, if you clean the issue, that means that they are fixed and I would say the text was updated.
Yeah,
but I will do my checks anyway. So
yes.
Okay, so I think that we can move to the next part on the registration.
Sure. So I actually don't have terribly much for us today. I've been bogged down with a couple other things, but I've been just chipping away at the reviews. So we just went over all this. That's the portal. They're experiencing technical difficulties. Woo. This is literally my last slide. So I'm working through the review comments right now, slowly but surely. I'm hoping to get the new version out by the end of the week. I thought the interim was Thursday. Then then I saw the email from Eric that said it was today, and I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm not going to be able to make that. So I'm working my way through the comments that I mentioned in the last interim from the various reviewers. Any feedback on the resource record would be helpful. High level, whatever. That's really where I am. So I'm just chipping away at it.
Yeah, just one clarification question.
Sure.
I received multiple, I would say, unsubscription from Jim from the mailing list. So did you reach out with him with this fork, or is that on purpose that he unsubscribed from the mailing list?
He unsubscribed. Yeah, I didn't. I saw that
so
every time I
on
tried to
this one,
send, something went wrong.
May I just simply indicate that Jim email setup is running his own email server, like I'm doing, and is pretty paranoid on the email sent via the IETF, but the IETF is currently using an IP address from the Comcast residential prefix. So Jim is refusing some email from the IETF, so they are bouncing, so he's removed from the mailing list. So don't take Jim's removal, right, or declining email as Jim's will. That's only the configuration of Jim's email server.
Okay, thank you for the clarification, Eric, because I was confused about this, and concerned about I would say, the status of this document.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay.
Yeah, no.
You may want to ping him because he doesn't see it is removed, right? Because obviously the removal message, he doesn't get it either.
Okay.
Yeah, so you may want to.
Okay, so Adam, if you can just please reach out with him, just
I'll
to
reach
make
out.
him
I'll
aware
reach
that.
out to. I'll reach out to Jim and let him know. I figured he was probably aware of it, but I will. If you're still getting them, I will let him know right now that there is a problem with his email server. Where is Jim? Yeah, I'll do that right after this meeting, so that I'll contact him through another means so that he can fix that. Otherwise, though, I really don't have much to add today, like the code points. I thought we would have the code points by now, but then the website went poof. Oh wait, Jim is here. Hello, Jim. We spoke his name so many times he just appeared.
Maybe that's Miteko. That yeah. I mean, they have an AI engine that's okay. They're talking about that guy. They're just popping up.
Yes, Stu. I see that Stu is in the queue.
So Jim, I was simply explaining to the other participants that you have problems receiving email from the IETF mail server, right? So because you were disconnected and removed from some mailing list.
Yeah, that problem has been sorted out.
There we go.
Okay, that's good.
Hooray. Hooray, hooray.
Yes, Stu?
Stu? You're not speaking. There you go.
Just one?
You're good.
Okay, so yeah, I think we had moved on to the topic of working group future. Is that correct?
Unless Jim has anything to add about registries, but
No, I've got nothing to add about that. One thing I would like to mention, though, I think it's mainly an issue for Eric on this call, is I think we still need to get something done at IAB level to sort out this business of the delegation of this IPv6 prefix. Now, I noticed, Eric, you've done something about asking for expert review for the HSIT stuff, which is part of this thing. But I think we still have this bigger problem, is how we're going to deal with this issue, because it's not clear to me what the roles are going to be here, because I think IANA needs some more guidance on how this can actually proceed with the delegation. But I think there needs to come some kind of statement from, I would imagine, the IB to say this space is set aside for such and such a purpose, and so is authorised to speak for the IB, and how this space gets carved up please talk to them whenever you get requests for delegations. I think that's what has to happen. I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, it's what we discussed in Rotterdam, right? When we met with David. Exactly. And you're right there. There is, of course, the difference between delegating the reverse DNS resolution, let's say, as well as allocating a prefix, right? So that's the two things are not, I mean.
Yeah, and there's a bit of a disconnect.
Because of semantic link, right? But there's no link really.
There's also a bit of a disconnect, Eric, because my impression is Bob thinks because of an RFC that says this chunk of space is set aside for DRIP, he thinks it's done and dusted. There's no more to discuss here. It's a done deal, and of course it's not.
No, there are some things to be done on, let's say, the business relationship side, not so much on the technique. So, Jim, may I ask you to send to the list 3 lines summarizing this, and I will reply on the action point, so everyone is aware.
Sure thing.
I really try to keep things public, right, for archiving and as well for interesting people.
Yeah, I think it might be good for us to get together for a beer in San Francisco, or a cup of coffee or other tasty beverage, and see if we can get everybody lined up on this whole thing. It'd be good if Bob's there. I don't know if Bob's planning to go to San Francisco or not.
I think he is, because he put me for another working group. He cannot be there on Friday because he's traveling back. So I think he will be there. And Madrid is not meeting, as far as I know, in San Francisco, but Bob will be there. You will be there, looks like, and I will be there.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'll check up. I also check up with Kim to see if he's going to be there.
Oh, it will be there.
Yeah, he's already there, I think. Well, I mean, Los Angeles, but
yeah, it's not that far away, right?
Yeah. At the US scale, I mean.
Or Canadian scale.
So sorry, guys, I derailed the meeting. So back to you, Stu.
Yep. No, that's fine. It was important that we touched on that first. So on the future of the meeting group, of the working group, I have to admit that I share everyone's disappointment that we have not had more participation than we have had. It's been a real struggle, with just our AD, our chairs, me as the guy who promoted this in the first place to the IETF, Adam, Bob, Jim, and that's about it. We've had occasional participation from a couple of others. And so it's we've really struggled to get critical mass. Flip side, what we have done thus far is getting attention outside the IETF. ASTM is taking this quite seriously for their so-called A2X, which is aircraft to everything communications. And the FAA, which is the Civil Aviation Authority here in the US, had ignored it for quite some time, but now they are paying attention. The most recent experiment / demonstration that we did at the New York UAS test site had no fewer than 15 staff from the FAA who attended, and were asking questions and observing demonstrations of the authentication capability that we've added that is absent from the baseline standards that they had adopted from ASTM. So it's a struggle. On the one hand, we just don't have the level of participation that we need for this to be a really viable working group. But on the other hand, the few of us who have produced something, that something that has been produced is getting attention outside IETF. And it was our intention right from the start that there'd be kind of 2 rounds of DRIP, that the first round would just be to make UAS remote ID information trustworthy, right? And then the second round would be to make that information useful, to establish, command and control links and all that sort of other stuff. And so Bob has been foraging on ahead in writing his, independent stream drafts of all these various applications of our baseline DRIP protocols. And so he asked me yesterday via email that I push in this interim that he would like to see some of those drafts adopted come 117 by the working group. And obviously to adopt them, we'd have to still have a working group. And And the reason that he's not with us this morning is, because of this attention that we've been getting outside IETF. He's been pulled into something at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, which has invited him to come and give a guest lecture on all this. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that to all of your attention, /rant.
Yeah, thank you, Stu, for providing this context. But anyway, I think that we will have more, I would say, more opportunity to talk about all of this once we have, I would say, the remaining 2 documents to send to Eric for publications. I have seen the message, for example, that was sent by Bob for requesting for the adoptions. To be frank with you, I didn't discuss yet with Daniel, but personally, I want to be open to accept any new documents for the working group till we have, I would say, final versions of the registration and authentication, and then we can start, I would say, doing this exercise for us to reassess the engagement of everyone. I know it's really hard for this small group. This is a niche, and I understand that we have to help this kind of industries to join into the IETF. So that's why I think we have to understand that. But we need also to see how we can engage other participants from the IETF, so that this is not just the work of Adam and Stu, but the work of the IETF. So there is some socialization to be done. For example, if you can consider, for example, publishing some of the work we are doing in the internet journal, so that people can see this work to attract them. Doing some of the socialization, for example, that in other venues. I don't know which one, but we need to discuss this. So for us also to tell people, yes, this is something which is interesting, how this interface with the other work in the 3GPP and so on, so that this is useful, and this is not just publishing, I would say, document that won't be read by everyone. So this is an exercise for all of us. But as I said, we need to have this discussion once we have the thorough document on a good track.
Mhm.
But of course, we are open to opinion, comments, and so on.
And just to add to you, Med, I fully agree with what Stu and you said, by the way. The hope of DRIP was to bring other new people, related to the space industry, right? Now, I understand based on the interaction with ASTM and ICAO that they are way more formal than the IETF. They are more top-down than bottom-up and a few things like this. You may want to make clear that some working group at the IETF are never meeting at the physical meeting, only doing remote, like this one, interims, and they do work. And those interims are free, right? So if money or whatever consideration is important from STM, FAA, ICAO, or CFA, or EASA, or whatever, there is a solution, an open door. Now, I don't know to whom to speak to say this, right? But you may want to interact there. So it looks like I caused a silence.
Yeah, most me and Stu, I think, are capturing all the words back and forth. Yeah, I agree with, first off, with Stu's comments, obviously. With the interest we're seeing outside and other works that we're doing, both in ASTM, with the aircraft to everything work, and the multiple times we've seen the FAA, they have shown interest with every demo, and it's grown larger and larger with each successive demo that we've done. There might be some discussions with some vendors on our side. We're not quite sure yet. And I agree with Med that we should reassess before adopting more documents because of this, somewhat lack of outside participation. The only document that I would push against that on is the DKI document, but obviously, I would go to consensus, right? That the consensus of the group is no, we're not going to adopt it. We can pull it back into the registry document if we need to. We'll just have to drag Bob along, I think. and finding how to engage. So, Stu.
Yeah, I'd just like to clarify, what you were just saying. At Bob's request, I did bring to you all just now that he is requesting consideration of adoption of various of his drafts. But personally, I agree with, I think it was Med who said, it may have been Daniel, that better to wait until we get the baseline, if you will, fundamental set of core DRIP drafts through to RFC status before we, add on a bunch of new work. But because of the repeated restructuring of how we handle registries, one of Bob's drafts, the DKI, that has kind of become a core document. So Adam would indeed need to pull some of the stuff that's in the DKI draft back into his registries draft, or we would need to adopt the DKI draft, one or the other, in order to have a complete usable set of core drift documents. And I leave it to wiser heads than mine to decide which path is more appropriate. I will just mention one other thing, which is I'm not a great cheerleader and I'm not a great recruiter. And I seek all of your help in trying to promote this work to the broader IETF community to see if we can't get, a couple of more contributors in here.
But I have the impression that the people that have to be recruited are probably outside the IETF.
Okay, that I may be able to do, right? I can twist the arms of some of these people in ICAO and ASTM and maybe RTCA and maybe IEEE and say we could really use a hand over here in IETF. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, and we can also extend maybe into the security part of the IETF as well. Right. Initially, this working group was within the security area with Ben Kaduk, if you remember. I mean, the creation was initiated by him and then moved to INT, mainly because I like flying, basically.
Okay, so I think unless there is any other point that you want to discuss, I think that we can adjourn.
I have no other points unless Stu or Jim does. So, or anybody else for that matter.
Okay. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you for the
Bye-bye.
short.
Thank you.
And let's have a drink, a coffee or a beer in San Francisco for people going there by coincidence.
We'll see if.
Bye-bye.
Yep. Have a good rest of the day, guys.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Stu.
Yes.
Oh, no. I'll call you.
Okay.
I'll call you because there's a recording. See you in a bit.
And Unduk, whomever you are, we would be very happy to have your active participation. We don't have all the answers here, and we certainly don't have all the bandwidth.